Hi guys, welcome to another video here on my channel. If you've not seen any of these videos before, I'm an approved driving instructor here in the UK, and if it's your first time to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on that bell notification so you get all the new videos that we're going to be dropping. So let's get into the video. Right guys, so today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about 5 things that you really need to think about when it comes to choosing your driving instructor. Now, a lot of you out there will go and learn with parents, friends, family. That's absolutely brilliant. The more practice you get on the road, the better. And there's lots of helpful hints and tips on DVSA website, which I'll put in the description below so that you can find out what you actually need to be learning for the driving test. But if you are going to go with an approved driving instructor, somebody that you're going to be paying your hard-earned money to, there's 5 things that I think you need to seriously consider when choosing which instructor to go with. Number 1, are they registered? So every driving instructor in the UK must be registered with the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency, which I'll put a link in the description for you so you can go on there. And they all have to be registered and go through a serious amount of tests and regular checks. If they don't do that, they come off the register. But all the registered driving instructors will be on that list. So if you're looking at an instructor, ask them for their registration number, their ADI number, their approved driving instructor number, and you can search it in the register. If they don't want to give it to you, well, that kind of probably says they're trying to hide something. So always check that. The other point with that is they must have the badge on display at all times. So their badge must be in, preferably in the front window, or some of them have it in the side. Number 2, recommendations. Most of my new students come from old students that have recommended friends to me because they like the way that I've done it. And every driving instructor is different, and every driving instructor gets on with their students in a slightly different way. I like to have a good laugh and a joke in the car. I like to have a little bit of banter, and I like to enjoy myself when I'm teaching. Some instructors aren't like that, and some students don't like that. So you've got to find the right instructor for you, and recommendations is a really good way to do that. Have a look on Facebook. A lot of driving instructors have got Facebook pages. If they have they got recommendations? Have they got students passing with them? So do your research on the instructors that you're looking at. Number 3, do you want to learn in a manual or an automatic? It's a big question to ask, because it will determine which instructors you go with. Because some instructors, like myself, I teach manual car drivers. Some instructors, like some of the guys that I know in this area, only teach automatic. And you have to consider what the impacts on your license are. So if you go for an automatic car license, that's all you can drive is automatics. It's not to say that in the future you couldn't go back and learn again in a manual and then upgrade your license. So you'd have to do an extra test to be able to go up to an automatic, up to a manual. But think about it seriously before you start going out and doing your lessons. Don't just go for automatic because you think it's going to be easier. Don't just go for manual because that's what everybody says you need to go and do. You want to do what's going to be best for you. Tip number 4, what car do they teach in? There is a vast array of cars out there that people teach in. I teach in a Seat Arona, which is a manual diesel vehicle. Okay, the amount of miles I do warrant the fact that I have a diesel because it saves a little bit on fuel. If you're going to be going out and buying a petrol and you're predominantly going to go to petrol cars to begin with, it might be better if you're learning a petrol car. If you're not fussed which one you go for, you're not fussed which one you go for. There is slight differences in the way that you will learn in both of those 2 different types of vehicles. Some teach in very small cars, some teach in slightly bigger cars. There are some of the bigger franchises that teach in things like the BMW X1. There's some local instructors around here that teach in things like the Audi Q3, the slightly bigger vehicles. And that can be daunting for some students. You might also have to consider whether you can physically fit in the car. You might be slightly taller, you might be, say, over 6 foot, and some cars you're not going to fit in. You might be slightly shorter. Some people, I've had a student that was around about 4'3", 4'4", I believe she was, and she'd struggled with a lot of different cars. because it was just a difference in the way that she has to sit, and every car is slightly different. You also might have a preference to what car you want to learn in, so have a look, ask them the question. Tip number 5, price. Now, I get asked this a lot because I charge a certain amount for my services, and there are some instructors out there that charge a lot less, and there are some that charge a lot more. With driving instruction, you get what you pay for, but think about it from the instructor's point of view. If they're charging you £20 an hour and everybody else in the area is charging £30 an hour, why are they charging so much less? Is it because they don't get the business, they don't get the recommendations? So when you're thinking about cost, you've got to make sure that you can afford it. You don't want to be doing lessons every now and again, one a month, one every 3 months, because you're going to end up just dragging this out for years and years and years and years, and you don't want to do that. My students seem to get the best when we're doing it regularly, whether that be one lesson a week, a couple of lessons a week. You do progress faster with it. So when you're considering the price you pay for a driving instructor, you've also got to remember whether you can afford it or not. It's not a cheap thing learning to drive. Neither is a cheap thing going to university. But you want to keep those lessons consistent. So you want to think about how much can you afford? How often can you do your lessons? Generally, my students find that doing lessons every week, whether that be 1 or 2 lessons a week, is the most beneficial for them. And it seems to move them on nice and quick. We get through probably 6 months, roughly. And a lot of them are going through tests. Some take a little bit longer, some don't take anywhere near as long as that. Everybody's individual. So really think about the price, and don't just go for the cheapest instructor out there. It's not going to be the best thing in the world for you. Well, thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If it is your first time coming to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the other videos that I'm going to be dropping. And we will be dropping videos every Thursday at 7 o'clock. So make sure you come back to the channel and have a look there in case there's any new tips and tricks that we might be putting up there for you. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and we'll see you in the next video. Remember to drive safe, keep learning. Bye.